Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Batavia High School Bass Fishing. If you like our videos, please hit subscribe. Today we're doing a vlog, and what we're doing is a whole weekend of tournaments. I don't want to keep looking at the camera while I'm driving, so we're going to shift the camera over to the road. But basically, Batavia High School is bringing 4 boats and 13 fishermen. Aurora Central is bringing 3 boats with 8 fishermen. And Marmion Academy is bringing, I believe, 4 boats, and they have 12 fishermen. So we're competing throughout the whole weekend. We'll have a tournament today, as soon as we hit the water here in about an hour, hour and a half. We'll have a second tournament Saturday morning. We'll have a third tournament Saturday afternoon, and then our 4th and final tournament will be Sunday. Now, a cold spell has hit central Illinois, and we are, it's 37 degrees out right now. And we're probably not going to get much warmer than that throughout the whole weekend. In fact, Sunday, they're calling for the high of the low 30s. So it could be a tough weekend as far as fishing goes, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to stop the video right there because things went downhill once we got on the water. It was a brutal, brutal weekend. Extremely cold. I've never fished in that cold of weather in my life, and I fished for walleye and muskies in cold weather. But Saturday morning, we fished in a temperature that was, I believe, 23, 24 degrees, and with the wind chill, it was about 10. And so what we were doing, we were wearing surgical gloves underneath our regular gloves. That way you could still maybe tie line and keep the wind off of your hands and keep the bait casting spray off of your hands. We actually had boats freezing to trailers. We had a lot of equipment go bad because of the cold. Backlash City, every time you go to cast, your eyelets in your rod would be frozen, and so you go to cast and the spool would just backlash. And then you're trying to pick that off with bare hands or with the gloves. So really, really tough conditions. My boat strap actually broke. It must have had a flaw in it, but I suppose it was because it was so darn cold. So anyway, we did catch big fish. Some really, really solid fish were caught throughout the weekend. We didn't catch a lot of them. Unfortunately, most of them aren't on film, but I'll show you what I can. I'm going to talk over most of the filming, and I'm going to show you why right here. So check this out.
All right, we're here with Dylan Kroll today. Dylan, how'd your day go today?
So you could see with the wind, there was no way you could hear anything. The audio on pretty much every single section of videotape that we had was poor. The other thing was our GoPro batteries were, even though they were fully charged, they just wouldn't function in that cold. So if you watch this little clip, this was that Saturday morning, super, super cold. I was trying to do an intro. Well, you can see the battery kind of dies midway through. So check this one out. Hi everybody, just going to do a quick little check-in. It's day 2. 21 degrees out here in northern Illinois, so very, very cold. We don't know what the water temperature is yet because we have to put the boats in. So today the competition is any bass under 12 inches is worth 1 point. Any bass from 12 to 14 inches is worth 2 points. Any bass from 14 to 16 inches is worth 4 points. And then 16 to 18 inches is 6 points. And then anything over 18 inches is an 8-point fish. And a couple things, it's very cold out, so I'm going to give you a couple quick tips. One, wear surgical gloves or exam gloves. That helps keep the wind and the spray from your bait caster off of your. All right, so you kind of get the idea. I mean, we had some brutal conditions. Anyway, I think the kids had a good time. We fed them meals Friday night, Saturday night. We cooked breakfast for them. We had lunches. It's really, really a really cool event. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't conducive. Last year, we caught 300 fish total, with 9 of them over 5 pounds. This year, we caught 17 total fish, but we had a good percent. I believe a third of those were over 4.5 pounds, so still some really solid fish. So anyway, I'm going to let this video roll, and I'm going to just kind of talk over some of the parts where the audio is so bad. So I hope you enjoy it. All right, well, this is my boat, and Dylan caught this fish within the first 10 to 15 casts. I actually wasn't even ready, fishing-wise and camera-wise, for him to catch that fish. We didn't have the net out. But anyway, we ended up getting it. He caught that fish on a bladed jig. I'd sent the kids an article that bladed jigs are really good in the late winter, early spring. It's typically you use those to vertically jig with, but instead he was casting that up shallow into weeds, ripping it through weeds, and caught this fish. Ended up weighing 4.8 pounds, so just shy of 6 pounds. You can see he's pretty excited about that. It's his first fish of the spring out of a boat, and good quality fish. All right, this is just a couple casts later. This is actually me catching a fish and Dylan netting it. You can see there's water on the lens. Things just aren't working right as far as the cold goes. This fish was caught on a lipless crankbait. Ended up being about a 3-pounder. You can see by the bellies on these things that they're really fat. They're all pre-spawn. I felt so bad. I told Dylan not to put his fish in the live well. And I really wish we would have, so we could have gotten a still picture of it. But anyway, so I let him hold this one up, and I tried to get a picture of it. Unfortunately, it was so cold that even my phone wasn't working real well and didn't take a good picture. But we'll let him hold it up here so you can see the size of this thing, the belly. For only about a 16-inch fish, it weighed a lot. It was 3 pounds. Okay, so this is a Marmion Fisherman, and he caught this. I believe it was 6 pounds, 8 ounces, something like that. Really, really nice fish. You can see how bundled up he is. Now this is at, I believe, 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. on that Friday, and you can see how bundled up the guys are. Really quality fish. Got that one on a lipless crankbait, chrome, in pretty shallow again in weeds. He did catch a bigger one the next day, but unfortunately I didn't get that one on film. Again, battery issues with the GoPros. So really, really nice fish though. Okay, so now it's lunch break that Saturday. Luckily the sun came out, and where we docked here, we're out of the wind, so it doesn't appear to be that bad, but it's still very, very cold. And this is a 5.9-pound bass. All right, guys, just a quick little check-in. We just finished the Saturday morning tournament. Unfortunately, it was bad for filming. We had trouble with batteries freezing up and everything else. But there was a 6.5-pounder caught, a 5.5-pounder caught, and a couple other decent fish. It was very, very cold. Our rod tips were freezing. Our line was freezing. Our fingers were freezing. In total, there was only 4 fish caught. So today, it's the afternoon, and we're now going to do the traditional tournament. So we're going to bring in our 6 biggest bass, 15 inches or bigger. Hopefully we'll be able to film this. We'll check back in soon. Well, that afternoon the sun came up, and we really thought the fish were going to be biting, but not a whole lot of fish were caught. So this is a few of the fish caught Saturday afternoon. We didn't bring many in for the scales. This is another Marmion Fisherman, a freshman, I believe. And this one was at 4 pounds, 8 ounces. So pretty nice fish. And here he is holding up his fish. You can see how healthy they are, big, huge pre-spawn bellies on them. And here's a smaller Batavia fish. And here's a second Batavia fish. Both these fish were under 3 pounds, maybe 2.5, 2 3/4, something like that. But really, really brutally tough day in the afternoon. One thing that was pretty neat is that we had a bunch of pelicans that had stopped over on Lake Jacksonville. I'm guessing that they were migrating north from Louisiana or southern Mississippi or Texas somewhere, probably coming up the Mississippi River. These are some massively huge birds, and I don't even know how many there were, at least 20 or 30 of them, maybe more. So kind of a neat thing for the kids to see. So on Sunday, we pack up early and we drive about a half an hour to Lake Springfield in Springfield, Illinois, which is on our way back home, just to give the kids another type of lake to fish on. Again, this is kind of like our spring training. We come down south to try to get the guys some time in the boat. And here's a fish that was caught at Lake Springfield. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of these on film either. Again, the weather was not conducive for filming. But a few fish were caught, not a lot. Again, you can see how bundled up everybody is. It gives you an idea of what the weekend was like. Okay, at this point, we're done fishing. We're doing the awards for the weekend. So in the team competition, we each round, we kept the track of the best 2 boats from each school. So Friday, Aurora Central Catholic won. They had a first place boat, and they had a third place boat, and we combined their points, and so they won that round in total. But Batavia and Marmion is still accumulating points. And Saturday morning, the first place boat was Marmion, and second place boat was Batavia, and a third place boat was another Marmion boat. So in that round, Marmion won that second round. On Saturday afternoon, Marmion won that one again, and Batavia was second place again. So now Marmion had a pretty good lead going into Sunday. And Sunday, Aurora Central Catholic won that tournament. Marmion was second, Batavia was third. But again, we're keeping track of your top 2 boats. So for the whole weekend, Marmion Academy got first place, Batavia got second place, and Aurora Central Catholic got third place. In addition to that, there was individual awards for students who caught the most bass. So here are some students being called up for the most bass. They're getting their awards. Again, it was a tough weekend, so there weren't a lot of fish caught in total. The first place finisher had 3 total fish for the whole weekend, and then we had several fishermen with 2. The tiebreakers for that were the bigger fish that were caught. And then in addition to that, we gave prizes for the largest bass. So there were 5 trophies given out for the 5 biggest bass. And there were some pretty impressive bass caught in this group. So I'm just going to read them off as you're watching this. First place was a 6.38. Second place, caught by the same person, was a 6.25. Third place was a 5.9. And then tied for fourth was a 4.8. But the Aurora Central fisherman had 2 fish, so he won the tiebreaker on that for the weekend. He had 2 fish. And then there was a 4.12. So really some quality bass caught for the weekend. And now here we are trying to line up for a group photo to get all of us in. Again, we're all still pretty cold. You can see we're pretty bundled up. But so you got a little view of all the competitors that were involved throughout the weekend. Again, we had lots of boats there. We had 45 to 50 people, adults and students combined. So this is one of those trips that everybody's going to remember well into their older years with the conditions that we had. And hopefully something was learned by everybody from this trip. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and check out our next video. Every Wednesday we post a new video at 1 p.m.